Saltwater politics. An hourglass of pain. Save a few seconds of time now, but lose a lot of time later. Saltwater politics? What you think? Coastal politics? Overseas tax breaks? Nope. Saltwater solutions are what most voters slurp up when they thirst for relief from overtaxation and inflation. As a glass of salt water quenches the thirsty tongue for a short while, saltwater policies temporarily relieve sufferers before the stoked fires of inflation and taxes come burning back. The myth of saltwater politics is like the myth of Sisyphus. The citizen thinks he's about to solve his problem, only to later find himself starting over. One difference: the rock of Sisyphus was never depicted as getting bigger. As you review the saltwater solutions, consider the following simple equation. If two people are given the above amounts of money, left and right, who is going to get served the Coke first? All the solutions coming out of the habitual politicians and tenured economists are variations of this theme. Give everyone some money to solve a problem without admitting that problem solving is not going to change. Just the price charged for the people with a monopoly on the limited goods and services. Are Coke prices higher in inner city neighborhoods or in the inner rooms of brokerages? Saltwater politics yields not larger glasses, but bigger dissolved rocks of salt. That is, a greater hidden tax burden. The popular support for no estate, the so-called death tax, is amazing. At most, only 2% of Americans paid the death. With the repeal of the death tax, the other 98% of Americans will have to pay higher taxes to make up for the lost taxes. 98% of Americans who swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. Galling is the number of flag wavers who are vocal, don't pay tax advocates who are really parasites of the American dream, bloodsuckers who don't want to pay their fair share. Are these protesters or paid performers? If you don't want to pay a death tax, well, simply don't live in America. The repeal of the death tax will tax living Americans to death. Definitely a saltwater solution. Debate with less taxes, which will switch to higher taxes for 98% of Americans, like a promised glass of fresh water replaced with salt water. Saltwater politics is the classical bait and switch, or more accurately, bait and shift, for the tax burden is shifted to the gullible who quench the gullet with salt. Honestly, there cannot be a death tax or a double taxation of the dead, for the tax has always been an inheritance tax on recipients of unearned income or estates. Behind saltwater politics, like bait and shift shyster, is semantic slippage upon which the taxpayers find themselves flat broke. This is a car tax relief check for $5.55 that the recipient thought was a joke and did not cash. Car tax elimination are like the death tax and all other saltwater solutions. Those who benefit 100% force higher taxes upon those who receive less than 100%. A person who does not own a car pays the taxes that previously had been collected. But, as with all saltwater solutions, even the major beneficiaries end up paying. In Virginia, the lost tax revenues have forced the state's Department of Transportation to scale back construction and repair. The rich and the poor car owners now have their time directly taxed by being stuck in traffic or suffering a rough ride that requires higher maintenance costs. A no-car tax that eliminates people paying their fair share of a stable economic umbrella will find the saltwater solution reducing the salting of roads in winter for safety. More deaths. The ultimate tax. Minimum wage increases are another saltwater solution, like unions striking for higher wages. After businesses add in the additional wage costs, they then add in the bookkeeping and management costs that are incurred when adjusting wages and prices. The result is higher prices for those at the bottom of the wage ladder, with a new cycle of inflationary demands. Individually, for all workers, the solution is investing time into a better education which pays more. Collectively, the solution is striking against those who get more money from the habitual politicians without ever having to strike, work, or earn. The real fresh solution, not saltwater, is ending economic privileges that let the political class get more wealth without solving real problems. The tax cuts of the habitual politicians are really inflationary tax shifts. One need only look at the federal tax cuts becoming increased state tax burdens, which, through budget cuts, have become local tax burdens. But since no taxes can be raised locally, problems will be ignored, with the citizens' times being taxed directly by time-wasting, unsolved problems. Seems like these tax cuts are politicians' saltwater solutions. The sweet bliss of marriage has been compromised by a saltwater solution. Supposedly, people get married to make their lives better. Some get married to take advantage of the two can live as cheaply as one mantra. Quickly, people start complaining about something called the marriage tax. Well, like the end of the death tax, the end of the marriage tax will tax bliss of the living. Those who don't pay a marriage tax can expect their families to be taxed more by unsolved problems. Child care tax credits are of benefit only to those who can afford child care. The poor end up paying higher taxes. Both the poor and the rich end up living poor lives because taxes are not there to solve problems. In a world with too many people, child bearers should be counseled to wait rather than take money if they cannot afford children. Child care vouchers are salt poison for the future of a child. When Virginia initiated a tax-assisted college education fund, this writer asked the office for a summary of which state colleges were the biggest recipients. That information was not available to the public. However, a simple series of questions show how tax credit plans like the no death tax and its repeal is a tax on the living. Do you think the poor or rich colleges receive the most? Who will make up the lost taxes from 529 tax-exempt savings plans, the rich or the poor? College saving plans help the rich attend college more cheaply while making college a harder proposition for the non-rich. Tax credits for college merely reduce the cost to the rich and cause inflation at the schools of the tax-favored. The consistent double-digit tuition hikes at public colleges show how not requiring people to pay taxes forces others to pay higher taxes. A saltwater solution. Anyone who looks at what has happened to higher education as a result of tax credits that benefit the rich should wake up to the implications for primary and secondary education. Like the death tax repeal, which taxes the living middle class, school vouchers will be supported by the middle class. After a few years, like higher education, the middle class will find that they cannot afford private, tax-credited education in primary and secondary school. As one person noted, tax credits let the rich buy their kids BMWs instead of Volkswagens to drive to school. Instead of being denied or delayed a college education, increasing numbers of middle-class families will find they have to return to and live with neighborhood schools far worse off than when they left. Why? Because of the flight of the middle-class parents, black and white, to the tax havens of vouchered schools. Tax heavens for faith-based schools merely raise their prices because of more money chasing the same goods and services. The answer to our problems is not paying with taxes, but working with our time. IRAs and 401ks are saltwater solutions to the need of a retirement fund. If your company and you are not maxing out the tax benefits 100%, then you are subjecting yourself to paying the taxes that 100% exemptive is skipping out. If you support 100K instead of traditional retirement plans, don't be surprised if you have a funny taste in your mouth when you turn 65, 70, 75. That is the sweaty salt of working hard and long. There are many reasons why humanity is in an existential meltdown. These politically pretty but phony pension plans are the reason that we are going to crash, because the average person does not realize that their plans are saltwater solutions. Gambling is a waste of time, plain and simple. While portrayed as an innocent way to prescription drugs are not a placebo, it ignores that the basic purpose of government is as those who can afford expensive drugs pay less, the poor will pay higher. When government encourages people to waste hours to cut a few minutes in taxes, changes to the Veterans Administration show how a political red bottom line harm
not only
the most needy,
gaming
as well as those who don't need.
Play
a few years ago, a congressman said that every veteran should have
gambling
health care regardless of financial well-being. Away from very quickly, the waiting time for simple lifeboats 2 months to almost a year. Now, who do you think paid the higher tax costs for more veterans using the veteran hospitals? The poor veterans or the well-to-do veterans? Both classes of veterans suffered delayed service, while the wealthier veterans only fooled themselves that they were saving money. They were just shifting the cost of service. The congressman seeking votes put both the poor and rich veterans on a saline solution. This is not as bad as the Bush administration, which wants to privatize veteran health care, a salt pill in every case except for the first Republicans to get the contracts. Most people do not realize that public water systems are being privatized. Ominously,
people who buy
companies buying water because they don't like water rights have a de facto water bottlers of the world. For the affordable bottled water will become to the bottom lines if public water systems suddenly break and cannot be HMOs work like Social Security, saltwater solutions that simple math shows to be a political Ponzi scheme. Unfortunately for the American people, HMO reform is unlikely because of the Bush-appointed Senate Majority Leader, Bill Frist, the cat killer. The Frist family started HCA. Frist's brother is the CEO of HCA, where he received, not earned, $445 million in 2002. Thomas Frist made $445 million off of Columbia HCA stock options. Having a Frist in charge of the Senate is not offering saltwater solutions to the inflationary fires of healthcare costs, but gasoline. Coke addiction is the false beliefs behind saltwater solutions. People thinking if they get money that their problems will be solved. Tax subsidies only benefit those who can max out the benefit. Housing, education, medicine, safety, and retirement. If I give you $100 for medicine while someone else gets $10,000, who gets more medicine and who pays the inflated prices that wipes out the free medical money? If I give you $1,000 a month in tax credits for your house, but give $100,000 to another, who has a higher cost of living? All saltwater cases show the basic inflationary principle of more money chasing the same or fewer goods and services. In all cases, a short-term gain in buying power is matched by an inflationary erosion of buying power. Mostly, the inflationary suffering falls on the lower and middle classes, for they must compete in buying goods and services with the well-to-do who have more buying power without producing more goods and services. Saltwater politics describes the various ways that wealth is transferred from the wealth creators to the welfare recipients, the money dictators in bed with the habitual politicians. Another term sometimes used is band-aids. The untreated wound is covered only to fester until life-threatening. A primary thing to realize: if you are not the biggest recipient of the political favor, then your cost of living will rise. You will suffer inflation in the goods and services you share with the recipient of the political favors: taxes, education, medicine, and energy. In the last 20 years, saltwater solutions have been a major reason why the wealthiest top 1% of Americans have come to own more and more of America. Did they create real wealth and real problem solutions, or did they buy political saltwater solutions that gave them something for nothing as a legal form of theft? In effect, any government regulation that created a sliding scale of benefits is a continuum of water glasses, varying from very salty to non-salted water. Self-defeatingly, all the drinkers incur future thirst for solutions, except for the small percentage that drink salt-free water. The future thirst is in the form of inflationary suffering and higher taxes.